Hi guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing a review of Yellow Crocus by Laila Ibrahim. This was my first BookTuber recommends pick for the month of January, and this was recommended to me by Lisa from Books and Smiles, who read it I think last year and absolutely loved it. So I was really looking forward to picking this up because I always take Lisa's recommendations really seriously. She has some great things to say about books and I always find myself really inspired to pick up books on her recommendation. This tells the story of Mattie and Lisbeth, and this is set in the south of America just before the Civil War. And Mattie is a black slave who lives on a farm in the south, and Lisbeth is the newborn baby girl to the couple who own the farm or plantation, or however, I can't remember which one it is, I think it's a farm. And right at the beginning of the book, so the first opening chapter, is a scene where where Lisbeth's mum is giving birth to her, and Mattie is called from her hut in the grounds of the farm to come up to the room where Lisbeth is being born, and she in the meantime is being torn away from her own son, who's a baby himself, and she's currently breastfeeding him. But that's exactly the reason why she's being called up to the house. So she has to leave her son behind to be looked after by some of her other family members, and then she is taken up to the house, and Lisbeth is born and put straight into Mattie's arms to breastfeed her. So she is Lisbeth's wet nurse. And from the very beginning of the book, it's quite emotional in the sense that, you know, Mattie's torn away from her own son. She's been asked to do this job, and if she doesn't do it, obviously that she's going to get in trouble because she has to. But also Lisbeth is put straight into the arms of Mattie, and from what I remember, I think her mum does want to hold her, but she's told that she can't, that she's too weak, that she needs to kind of gather her strength and then she can kind of hold her later. And I suppose in some senses that was the reality for giving birth for some mothers at this particular time. I just found that really heartbreaking as well. But Lisbeth is taken to Mattie's room, or I suppose it's Lisbeth's room. It is Lisbeth's room, but that Mattie's got like her own bed over to the, I think in a room off of Lisbeth's room, and she basically has to take care of Lisbeth, and it's about Lisbeth growing up with Mattie and the relationship between the two of them against the backdrop of slavery in the South just before the Civil War in America. And I really liked the subject matter and the story behind this particular book. I found it really heartbreaking at times, and I found it really heartwarming at times too. What I took issue with in the book is that there were some moments that could have done with some editing, so I felt like the description was a little bit lacking, and we were being told things as a reader rather than sort of discovering them for ourselves through the description of the characters or the way that they were talking about something, or the kind of description of the setting or whatever it might be. And I found, yeah, that I wasn't kind of getting the depth that I needed from it. And I also think now, reflecting back on it a little bit more, that the horrors of this particular time, we were shown quite a lot of them, but it was quite a domestic story, so it would have been nice to see a bit more about slavery kind of life and the realities of that. What was quite heartwarming about this as well is that Lisbeth, as she grows up, begins to realise that this is not right, you know, what her family's doing, and I'm not sure how many years before the Civil War that this is set, but there's sort of the implication that people were starting to change their views on slavery and kind of black people's rights and things like that, and I really liked it from that sort of angle too. I really like the characters in this. I do think they were brought to life well, and I felt like I learnt a lot about this particular time period. This is a self-published work, So I feel like you should take your hat off to Laila Ibrahim in terms of getting the story out there and having it published, I think by Amazon, and brought into the world, because that's quite tough to do in today's industry. I definitely think it's worth a read. I gave it 4 stars. Like I said, I thought it was both a heartwarming and a heartbreaking story, that you will like the characters and learn a lot about the time period. Yeah, and I do really like it, and I ended up giving this 4 stars. So there you go guys, that was my review of Yellow Crocus by Laila Ibrahim. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. Have you read this book and what did you think of it, or are you thinking of picking this book up now? Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.